without further ado, I am excited to kick off the South Dakota Private Lands Prescribed Fire Forum. And my name is Kara Harders. I am a Community Vitality Field Specialist for SDSU Extension. I get to, or have to, depending on how you look at it, work with Pete in the Watertown office, so that's how you guys got me here today. In the name of this is private lands, and so if you could, I hate to put you all on the spot right away, but if you are a private landowner and that is your reason for being here today, could you please stand? Thank you. A lot of times, those of us who work for the state or work in a more government position, sometimes we end up doing programs or things because it looks good on paper or it says something that tends to be a buzzword. And sometimes we lose perspective of who it's actually about and who we're actually working for. And so I'm really grateful that there's so many of you that are actually the target audience of who we're looking to help with and work with here today. So thank you. My job today is to be the MC. I actually know very little about fire burning, so please don't ask me any specific questions. But we have about 20 different sessions throughout the day, and I want to make sure that we get to lunch on time, first of all, and then make it out of here on time, having heard everything we need to hear. So please don't feel that I am being bossy because I don't want to hear anybody talk. I'm just trying to make sure we get through all the things that we've promised we will talk about. The goal of today's meeting is not to tell you how to burn. We won't have any testing of the wind direction or talking about any of those things, hopefully. But instead, we want to talk about the ability to burn. And so that's going to be things including the skills you need, the resources you need, a burn-friendly social or political climate. We're talking about all the things that go into fire and land management. We will have 4 question and answer sessions throughout the day. And these are built in to hopefully keep us on track and make sure that everybody's questions get heard. If you have a question that pops into your head and it's not really tailored to the session that we're talking about next, please feel free to write it on one of the question cards, which I meant to have with me. But they're little postcards. You could have gotten one at registration or multiple at registration, but there should also be some on your table. And if you don't have any question cards, we will get you one. Please do not hesitate to fill one of these out. You can be secretive about it so that nobody knows it was you that asked the question, but we want to make sure we get a chance to answer everybody's questions here today. This also, if we've got time at the end of someone's session or someone's presentation to ask a question, we might be able to do that, but there's a good chance, since everybody's only getting between about 10 and 15, 20 minutes, we might not have time in that moment, so please write them down. I want to encourage private landowners and prescribed burn associations to seek out people and organizations who can help shape what you're trying to do, help inform, answer questions, make connections. And so if you get a chance to talk to somebody, we've got a couple of breaks, lunch, so there should hopefully be plenty of time to kind of make those connections and talk to those people that you need. The theme of today's meeting is enhancing prescribed fire on private lands in South Dakota through partnerships. And the goal of our meeting is to hear from all parties involved with private lands prescribed fire implementation, funding, or training, and to mitigate any obstacles to successful private lands prescribed fire in South Dakota. That, I think, is about all I have for my intro monologue. So thank you all for being here. I know that the weather and the roads might not have been great, especially if you're coming in yesterday. So once again, I really appreciate all of you for coming. And without further ado, we will start with our first session, which is the importance of private lands prescribed fire in South Dakota. And it will be presented by Jeff Zimprich. Grab it if you want. I think so. Do whatever you need. Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. I'll probably get down here and walk around a little bit. I'm always more comfortable when I do that. So if you looked at the schedule, you'd see Mike Blayled's name on there, and you're going, Jeff Zimprich is speaking. What's up with that? Well, Mike was unable to be here. I'm filling in. Hopefully, I won't let you down too much with my comments. They'll be short. But it's just really good to be here. It was great to see the number of private landowners that stood up that are here. This session really is about all of you, and we're so glad you're here, and I'll probably say that several other times. So, just a little tiny bit about me to give you an introduction. I do own a very small, I'm kind of co-owners in a very small farm near Brandon, South Dakota, way over on the east side. It's a very diverse farm. We have woodlands, we have riparian areas, we have some native grasslands that have never had crop on them, we have some restored grasslands, and a lot of other stuff in between with cropland and other things. But I guess the reason that I'm here today to speak with you is because I'm one of those people that's kind of benefited from this partnership. I've benefited from all of you in this landscape. So we're a farm that really needed to have prescribed fire as a tool in our toolbox. I'm not going to say that fire is a tool that needs to be in every owner of grassland's toolbox, but for us it was important. We're a small farm where there were livestock on our operation many years ago. Those livestock right now are not there. We are putting the infrastructure in to put those livestock back into that operation, and hopefully sometime in the near future, we will have that infrastructure in place and have livestock back on there that will help us do some of the things that the grasslands need. But as a landowner, I benefited from having many of the experts in this room come to our farm, provide classroom training to us on how to write a prescribed burn plan, how to carry it out. We actually had other landowners join us at our farm where we went through many of the tools and how to ignite and use prescribed fire. We actually conducted prescribed fire on about 4 different plots of land 2 years ago. I was a landowner who got to benefit from seeing the impact that had, right? We had people come back to the farm and they were able to view it and be able to see what response we had. If you listen to what I just said, I was kind of thinking about this on the trip out today, is I said many times I was a landowner that benefited from this. I think it'd be more appropriate if I said, actually, I think I'm the owner of land that benefited from this. So when we really watch and see what's happened on our landscape, we're seeing that our grasslands have become healthier with just a small introduction of fire on the landscape. It's made a big difference to us. And we're going to continue to use this tool. There's no doubt about it. And I'm so excited that I think the partnership to help us use this tool is only going to get stronger and stronger and grow and grow. I'm also a landowner that actually has some programs on the landscape that I need to use fire for. One of those is the Conservation Reserve Program. We have a small area that's been in CRP for many years. Right now it's enrolled in the pollinator program. One of the management things I have to do is I have to put some kind of management on that landscape, and I've chosen to use fire. And so that's kind of another tool that I use to help carry out a USDA program that's really helping about take care of the land. So many things along the way keep pointing to this. So another thing I wanted to do is just say thank you to all the people who are making today happen and who have made so much of the training and the education that's happened on prescribed fire happen in South Dakota to date for all the work you've done. The list is many. I'm not going to introduce them. You see them scattered across and around the room with displays. They're in the audience. You're going to hear from many of them. But boy, without them, I know that our land would not have benefited, and I know I as a landowner would not have benefited, okay? One other thing that I wanted to mention to you is that one of the other things that we're doing on our small farm, we call it Pass Kill on Beaver Creek. That's a name my wife and I gave to the small part of the land that we own. And one of the things we're doing is we're doing education there for non-ag adults and youth. We've brought a lot of folks there over the years. And it's kind of funny that when we get them out on the grasslands, when we stand on either a native grassland that is now got some smooth brome and bluegrass in it and other things that we're trying to control, or whether it's on one of our restored prairies, and we talk to them about the fact that, when European settlers arrived in South Dakota was 96% grass. And we talk about now South Dakota is 48% grass. And we talk a little bit that many experts say that grasslands are the most threatened ecosystem in North America. It is kind of interesting that when you ask that question ahead of youth, they'll tell you that the most threatened ecosystem is forests. It's kind of interesting how, when we look at the landscape though, we've got more forests now in many areas than we actually have grasslands. But when we talk through that and we show them some of the invasive woody species that are moving in our grasslands, and when I ask the question of them, like, what's missing? What's changed? Many, many times the youth and the adults will talk about the fact that, well, fire was part of the environment before, and where is it now? And then we go on to talk a little bit about the fact that we're actually doing some of that there, and we call it prescribed fire, and we relate that to other things when they know that word prescribed or prescriptions, and they get it, and they see how it can have an impact. So I think a lot of what we're doing here is we're going to continue to try to kind of overcome the things that we need to overcome to really be able to make fire be a key part of this grassland ecosystem in South Dakota. So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of this discussion. Thank you to all the partners that are here that are helping provide what landowners like myself need to be able to carry it out. I'm also a member of the South Dakota Grassland Coalition. I'm on that board of directors. And we as a coalition know that fire is part of the toolbox that we need to continue to work with. It's not always a tool that everybody just kind of grasps easily, right? It's kind of it can be scary. It can be scary if you've had to fight wildfire on your operation or on your landscape. And those things kind of like are always in the back of our head. But know that I think in South Dakota, we've got a great ability to just come together, talk about issues, and try to resolve that. So let's keep this program moving. I'll turn it back to Kara, but thank you so much for your time. I look forward today. I know I'm going to learn a ton, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you.